Hi, this is Marek from Woodland, and this is our unboxing and quick setup guide video for the RCS28 PRO series chainsaw chain sharpener. This sharpener was designed as a fully automatic professional solution for high volume sharpening. The RCS28 PRO transforms chain maintenance from a tedious manual chore into a fully automated set it and forget it process that makes quick work of your chains. Let's get started. When you open the box, you'll find everything you need to get sharpening right away. Inside, you'll see the sharpener unit, the dressing whetstone, the 12-volt battery cables, the stock clamp, your ceramic grinding discs, and your toolkit. The toolkit includes the Allen key wrenches, which you'll be using for making adjustments later on, as well as the profiling gauge for the grinding wheel. A manual is included as well. Now we can start by mounting the sharpener onto a sturdy workbench or stable surface. And for this video, we have it set up on a basic bench so you can clearly see each step. And it is also helpful to have the unit slightly outwards off the top of the bench to account for the chain's hanging clearance. This is a good setup for standard chain lengths. However, if you are looking to do longer chains, such as ripping chains for chainsaw milling, you may want to account for a higher bench height. Once mounted, you can connect it to your 12-volt battery power source. The sharpener runs off of a 12-volt battery using the included positive and negative clamps. Alternatively, you can purchase the optional Woodland 12-volt inverter, which allows the sharpener to be plugged into a standard wall outlet. This is a great addition for those looking at keeping their sharpening set up in the shop or garage. And for today's video, we will be using the inverter. Before installing the wheel, let's quickly talk about the two different sizes that come with the RCS28 PRO. A 4mm thick grinding wheel, which is included for chains such as 3/8 pitch, 3/25, or 1/4 inch pitch. But we also include a 6.4mm thick wheel for larger profile chains like 404, or for depth gauges or rake teeth as they're also known as. Prior to any wheel installation or adjustments, please double check your chain specs from the original chain box. For the purpose of this video, we do have a standard 3/8 inch pitch chain for a 16-inch chainsaw bar, and it has a 30-degree top plate angle. Now, after installing the wheel, you can spin it by hand to ensure it spins true and freely without any wobble. Once everything feels smooth, turn on the sharpener briefly to also confirm the wheel runs true at high RPM. Now let's profile the grinding disc so it matches the pitch of your chain. This is your profiling gauge. Each slot corresponds to a specific chain pitch, and the variance in the way the grinding disc fits in the slots shows you the amount you need to profile the disc. Now let's set aside the profile gauge and grab our whetstone to profile the disc. Turning the sharpener on and the disc, let the disc shape itself to that profile with very gentle contact. You can then turn the sharpener off and take breaks to inspect your progress so you get the best possible profile. Okay, now we have the disc nicely matching the indicator for a 3/8 chain. Having a properly profiled disc ensures accurate cutter geometry and consistent hook angles across the chain. Now let's set up the chain. Chain pitch, top plate angle, and depth gauge height are the specs to take note of to begin. Again, I'm sharpening a 3/8 pitch chain and it has a 30-degree top plate angle. Let's place the chain into the guide bar groove. When running, the unit will automatically clamp the chain into the groove during sharpening, so we don't have to worry about securing it at this point. Now I'll walk you through some key adjustments you use for sharpening. Set the pitch to match your chain such as 1/4, 3/25, 3/8, or 404. This presets the advancer to advance the chain accordingly to that pitch. Now for top plate angle. Most chains use a top plate angle between 25 and 35 degrees, and this is the overhead angle of the tooth. You'll see all the preset angles you can adjust to underneath the grinding head. If you're running a ripping chain for a chainsaw mill, for example, you may also want to go down to 10 degrees. As always, check your chain specs from your supplier or the original box to be sure. Now with the power off, we'll set the angle by using the provided Allen key. To do this, we'll loosen the inside screw and move the cutting head to match your desired top plate angle. Now this chain again has a standard top plate angle of 30 degrees, common for most chains, so we'll go ahead and make that change here, then tighten the inside screw back up. Now for some chains, they also require a certain tilt angle, which is the vertical slope inside the tooth. And you can set that here on the head tilt knob. Right now I have it at 60, a standard tilt for general use. And we have a grinding depth, which you can use the depth knob here to control how much bottom material the disc sharpens. You want to set it so the wheel stops just as it reaches the gullet without digging too deep or into the rivets. And if you've noticed, I have already been wearing PPE, so always ensure before sharpening that you're wearing proper safety gear, including safety glasses and gloves. And as always, stand slightly off to the side of the grinding wheel, never directly in line with it. Some adjustments like the top plate angle, pitch setting, and grinding disc profiling can be done even before turning on the unit like we just did. However, things like depth, advancer positioning, and other fine tuning, we will need the machine turned on to get the exact settings we need for good sharpening and ensure everything is performing smoothly. Before we begin, we'll start by finding the double link. If your chain doesn't have one, then you can go ahead and simply put the chain on at any point. However, if you do have a double link, putting it first in sequence gives you a clear starting reference point for every chain and avoids disrupting the alternating two sequence. And we'll position the chain so that the advancer plate is positioned directly above the rivet after the first cutting tooth. And sometimes your grinding head's top plate angle will be mismatched with the way your chain has been installed, and this is why we've included a positioning button that changes the position of the grinding head to match the top plate angle of the first tooth. And again, now that we have some of the first adjustments done, we'll get the advancer on to get the positioning right before we turn on the grinding disc. The advancer can be easily tuned with adjustment screw to increase or decrease the advancement of each cutting tooth to match the positioning of the grinding head disc. Importantly, in low speed, let's turn on only the advancer and let the unit begin moving the chain. We'll observe the position of the tooth in relation to the grinding disc as the disc comes down. We want the disc to lightly touch the face of the tooth and do a clean sweep of the tooth gullet above the rivets. If the tooth is too far forward, loosen up the advancer adjustment screw. If it's too far back, we'll tighten the screw. And if the disc is not dropping low enough, we can loosen the depth adjustment knob. If it's dropping too low and binding the gullet, we can tighten the knob to raise it. Once satisfied with the general positioning after a few sequences, we can go ahead and turn the disc on. You should see a smooth, even spark pattern. And we'll notice that the RCS28 PRO is designed to pulse the disc twice, keeping the tooth from overheating. If we, however, do have an aggressive grind and our tooth is overheating, you will see black or bluish marks on the tooth. If this is happening, back the advancer off slightly or raise the grinding head accordingly. If we find we want the grind to be even finer tuned and even for both cutters, we can utilize the equal cutting adjustment knob. Use one of the provided Allen keys to turn the knob clockwise to decrease the length of the left tooth and increase the length of the right tooth, or counterclockwise to increase the length of the left tooth and decrease the length of the right tooth. And we can repeat this until both teeth are receiving an even grind. And once you have a consistent sequence that's established, turn off the machine, reset the chain, and ensure your stop clamp is attached to the middle of the double link, which will tell the machine to stop after a full loop. And then you can go ahead and turn on high speed. And when you're finished, inspect your teeth. This should be equal in length with a clean chrome line. And over time, as you grind away material and with general usage, your cutting teeth will shrink in overall height. And this can leave your depth gauges or your rakers to be taller on the chain and obstruct the path of your cutting teeth through logs, as they are the ones actually trying to do the cutting and not the teeth. You'll typically notice this when your saw is cutting slower despite having sharp teeth. And by simply looking closely, you may also notice the depth gauges are higher than the teeth. You can always measure the distance to be sure with a dedicated feeler gauge or tool, but a reminder to once again check your chain specs for sharpening your depth gauges. The distance specification for this chain is 25 thousandths of an inch. For sharpening depth gauges or rake teeth, we'll install the unit's 6.4 millimeter disc. This is because of the wider surface we need to cover for the top of the depth gauge. Now we can profile this disc to match the factory design of our chain's depth gauges. However, you can also leave it squared off as we're only doing the small tip of the gauge. And once the disc's installed, adjust the top lead angle to be at 0 degrees as your depth gauges do not alternate, they do remain uniform. This will leave the grinding head fixed and not alternating positions. And for sharpening, you can follow the exact same previous process which we did with the cutting teeth, ensuring the chain is advancing and the grinding head is lowering accurately. And for this video, our depth gauges do not need to be sharpened, but we will use them anyways to give you just an example of how to sharpen them. And now for some best practices and tips. One thing is to keep your chain clean of debris before doing any sharpening. Any buildup will impact the operation, but a good wire brush on hand can be helpful for this. Inspecting your rivets, your teeth, and depth gauges frequently can help you spot damage from dirt, rocks, or other imperfections that can impact the chain integrity, and replace the wheel when it becomes worn or uneven. And most chains have lines on the top of the cutting teeth to indicate the sharpening threshold. After several sharpens, you may come close to this line. Once you do, it is time to invest in a new chain. If you're working with multiple pitch and chain profiles, keep batches of the same chain together for less adjustments and faster processing. Keeping chains sorted will speed up your processes, and a good chain or chainsaw holder can assist in this. Now that's the quick setup process for the Woodland Mills RCS28 PRO Sharpener. For further tips and tricks, check out our video tag below from our tech team, or feel free to give them a call. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please give us a call or check us out online. Happy sharpening.